and I'm here with my friend Gareth Clubb, and we're going to talk about heat pumps. So do you want to talk through some of the issues or challenges? It's not just a case, is it, of just ringing up somebody, I'd like a heat pump installed, job done.
That's right. So it turns out that if you want to install a heat pump and you live in England, as long as your heat pump is more than 1 meter away from a neighbour's property, so that's about this much.
Yeah.
Then you can install it. You don't need to go through any permissions. You just phone your installer. Installer comes, installs it. The regulations are different in Wales.
Yeah.
If you're within 3 meters of a neighbour,
which is quite a bit for a Welsh terrace, isn't it?
For a Welsh terrace like this one, it's impossible to install one without going through the permissions, because you're always within 3 meters of a neighbour either side.
Yes.
So then you have to go through the process of planning permission, and that is where the complications and the time delays come in. At cost, there's a planning application fee of £300. You have to have a draftsman to complete the elevation of the property, the plan of the property, if you like. That'll be a couple of £100. Yeah. And then there's the time it takes. So in our case, the town council looked at it.
I remember this. Yeah. I mean, should a town council or a community council really be looking at these sort of plans?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was part of the process in this case. The planning officer came back with a series of questions about biodiversity.
So how long was that in terms of time from where you started the journey?
Yeah, well, we started the journey, it must have been December last year.
So we're looking at about 9 months.
9 months or so, yeah. And then the installer has a lead-in time. So we'll be looking at installation around about 11 months after we first went out to the installers.
And this is, we hear in these stories all across Wales. We heard of a housing association that put 300 individual applications in for an estate because of, again, the size of the gardens and things like that. That feels like a lot of time and effort. 300 applications going to the council.
Well, it's going to swamp the planning officers,
and
of course, in the case of an estate where you have a lot of units might be quite similar. I mean, it just seems almost mindless bureaucracy to be going through that.
And it's
process.
not. I know there'll be some cynics who think the council making money out of this. I don't see how they can be with all the time and effort and the notices and everything else. It's just a bureaucracy. I mean, it doesn't exist in England.
Well, and the other point is, of course, that there's a time limited or a budget limited grant available from the UK government, which only applies to England and Wales. So in Scotland and Northern Ireland, they've got a different set of grants. It's £7,500 at the moment. If you take out carbon-based infrastructure, so like our boiler, and you replace it with an energy efficient measure, such as an air source heat pump, that grant is only available as long as it's available. Once the budget is used up, it's not going to be available anymore. And so if you have a higher rate of uptake in England, because you don't go through this bureaucracy, then you will have a higher use of shared funds across England and Wales, because it's Welsh taxpayers' money going to pay these grants as well.
So Wales could be losing out of an England and Wales fund because of its
it could be
processes and systems. Something we've seen before is weird planning conditions. So we heard about something in Monmouth where they were putting a heat pump in, from replacing it from gas, but they had to install bird boxes as some sort of biodiversity thing. Did anything like that happen to you?
Yeah, so as part of the process, because it goes through planning, and I don't think this would apply if you weren't taking it through planning, then there's a requirement to have additional biodiversity. So in our case, we said that we would take up some of the hard standing. It might be here, or it might be just there where we've got some slabs. Take them up and plant some wildflowers instead. But the point you made earlier, of course, is that if you're ripping out a gas boiler and shoving in a new oil boiler or gas boiler, you don't have to go through any of this.
I've had a gas boiler replacement. It broke. I rang up somebody. A week later, they installed another one. And so there's an issue here for social housing, which is if the landlord is one putting the plannings in and the local authorities putting biodiversity restrictions or conditions on it, does the tenant aware of it? Are the tenants the ones who have to maintain that wildflower meadow or that bird box or something? And who's checking on that? Is it the local authority? Is the landlord making sure the tenant? Is it in their contract? I think it's just opened up a new area for us to have a look at about this, how we put heat pumps into social housing. We want biodiversity, we need biodiversity, but is heat pump conditions the right place for this? We need to install more heat pumps. There were talk of 600,000 in 4 years in across the UK. That's about 11 times more than we do now. People like Gareth are committed, but they've incurred fees, draftsman fees, time and effort, conditions that are bizarre. Is this what we want to, when we're trying to decarbonize? Is this the message we're trying to get out there? Is this what we want when we want people to convert to heat pumps?